What's up, everybody? This is Tim from Arm Wrestling Secrets, and in this video, we're going to be talking about a secret for maximum power. How to use maximum power in every match.
Go! Go! Let's go, Tim! Go! No way! Come on, Tim!
All right, welcome to the show, and let's get right into it. Okay, so we're talking about a secret for maximum force. Okay, now we're going to have to go on a couple of assumptions here, and just stick with me for a second, and I'll get into the answer for this video. Okay, so a couple of assumptions. I'm assuming most of you probably saw the match recently between two of the world's strongest men. You saw Brian Shaw and Eddie Hall competing against each other. I thought that was great entertainment, but it kind of made it made a good point for this video, is that those guys are so strong, meaning they have extraordinary strength that they could bring to the table.
Blood was already coming out there. He'd been holding his breath for a few seconds. Hadn't quite locked it out. That's the moment he got his hips through. And that's pure pleasure right there.
But as you notice, their technique isn't very good. They don't have a lot of experience doing arm wrestling, so their power production is actually very, very limited. If they were to be able to use all the strength that they actually have in a match, they'd probably be able to beat just about anybody, right? But they can't. They can't put all of that power into a good technical flow without a lot of experience, okay? So we have to go on the assumption that when we're talking about max power production for a competition, for a tournament competition, we have to make the assumption that you know what you're doing.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well.
You've worked out all of those little things, okay? You've worked out the positioning, you've worked out exactly where your arm needs to be, you've worked out your grip, you've worked out exactly what you're doing on go, okay? Those are the assumptions we have to make for the video, is that you know what you're doing. You're in the right position, you have the right grip, you know what to do on go. On go, you're rotating, you're pulling, you're posting, whatever that is, you've made those decisions, okay? And this video is to help you get the very most out of the decisions you've chosen, out of the techniques you've chosen, how to get the most power out of those positions, and assuming you're setting up correctly and doing those other things correctly. Okay, so getting to the secret for this video is how to produce maximum power in every match. It's actually very, very simple. Okay, so like I said, with the assumption you know what you're doing, let's take it to the next step. Okay, you're at your competition. Who has ever out there underestimated your opponent, right? You get up there and you're like, this guy can't beat me. There's no way.
That's so sure I'm willing to put money on it.
Kid, if I couldn't beat you, I'd kill myself.
And all of a sudden you're down, or you're in a way harder match than you thought, okay? Now, I could say, don't underestimate your opponent. But that's not the answer. Obviously, that's a good thing to bring into the match. Don't underestimate any opponents at an arm wrestling match. You know how arm wrestlers are. Some of them are so strong, but they don't really look as strong as they are. I mean, look at John Brzenk, right? From the old days with his glasses and stuff like that. I mean, he looked like a librarian or something like that. You know, like he was an airplane mechanic. He's a really nice guy. He's got this nice haircut, but he's so strong, and he's one of the strongest arm wrestlers in the entire world. Okay, so like I said, I'm not telling you to not underestimate your opponent. What I'm going to say is something a little bit different, but it goes along those lines, okay? When you're going up in a competition, oftentimes you don't know your opponent, okay? They're a stranger to you, or if nothing else, you haven't gripped up with them before. One thing that I think is going to make a huge difference for you, especially in tournament competition, this doesn't work as well when you're arm wrestling against people you know, or have arm wrestled against a whole bunch, like friends. This is more of a secret for tournament competition, and this is a really simple thing. It's this, okay, is every single match, we're talking about producing maximum power every single match in competition, no matter what, when you go up, try to think of it this way, okay? Think the opponent is stronger than me. No matter what they look like, no matter what they feel like, when you're gripping up with the opponent, make the assumption everyone's stronger than you. I didn't say their technique is better. I didn't say they have a better move. I didn't say their flow is better on the table. I just said, assume they are stronger than you, no matter what they look like, okay? Because what you need to do on go, the mental game in arm wrestling is huge, and it's totally underrated, okay? And the importance of being able to have the right mental approach when you're coming up to the table, a big part of that is not underestimating your opponent. But I always take it a step further and think, this guy's stronger than me. The reason I do that is to produce the maximum amount of force on the go. Remember, when the ref says go, the match is starting and it's usually over in a second or two. There's no second chance to kind of turn on the gas a little extra. If you start kind of slow, okay, oftentimes you feel like, well, I'm starting at 100% every time. You are not. More than likely, you are not starting at 100% every time. If you go up there and you knew there was $1 million on the match, no matter who the opponent was, you knew that if you lose, you're not getting $1 million. If you win $1 million. Like, let's make that assumption. Are you going to pull a little harder? Are you going to commit to your move a little harder? Yeah. Why? There's an incentive that you've built into your mind prior to the go, okay, for the $1 million match as an example, okay? Now let's take it back to your regular tournament competition. There's no money on the line. You're just competing against somebody, but you want to win really bad, don't you? Okay? You have to put your mind in the right frame to put 100% effort into the pull. Okay? You're not going to conjure up some idea that pretend there's $1 million on the match or pretend your life depends on it. It's not going to work, okay? That's not realistic. You can't trick your mind into thinking that, but you can say, this guy's stronger than me. I have to put 100% into whatever move you choose. Like I said, pulling, hooking, pressing, posting, whatever move you choose. Remember that the technical subtleties, I'm so big on technique and I'm so big on all the little things that go into the match, okay? All of those little techniques, they're all subtle things. It could be 100 things that you do subtly that are slightly better than your opponent. Your leverage is a little higher. Your grip's a little better. You're in a slightly better position. Your feet are a little more evenly spread apart. Whatever. Those are all technical subtleties that give you an edge over a strong opponent. An edge, meaning it's going to give you a better chance of winning if you have good power production. But if your technique is great and you go at 70% and your opponent, who's just about as strong as you, goes at 100% or 90%, his technique's not quite as good, but his power level is a little higher, or his output is a little bit higher, okay? He could still very, very well win the match, okay? So if you get all the advantages that you've worked so hard on, all the little technical advantages, the setup, all the little movements that you're putting into winning the match, okay? There's one thing you have to add to that. It's 100% effort to win the match, to win the competition against other strong competitive arm wrestlers who you want to beat. You have to get all the subtle technical advantages that you can get. Every single little one you can possibly get before the start, okay? And then on go, you still need to go 100%. The techniques, a lot of people say, oh, if your technique's good, the win should come easy. And I'd say, well, that's for a little bit lower level competition. Wins never come easy in arm wrestling. Sometimes they do, obviously, right? But generally, they don't. In the higher level competition you get to, there are no easy wins. Some are easier than others, okay? But a lot of it's going to have to do with your technical setup being perfect, or as close to perfect as you can get it, okay? And then going 100% against your opponent so that your power production, your output is 100%, and your technique is 100%, okay? So next time you're at your competition and you go up to your stranger, you're shaking hands, you're getting ready for the match, no matter what that person looks like, assume They are absolutely stronger than you, and you're going to have to put 100% effort into the move you chose to win the match. I'll see you guys in the next one.
If you want to light speed your arm wrestling knowledge, supercharge your training, and start winning more matches, click on the link in the description, go to my arm wrestling coaching page, and book a session with me.